this title. And he's going to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Yes, everybody, good morning. This is Stephen Howson. This is my mate CheekySport Dave. You can go and check them out in the description below. And we're here to talk some macca about football. Dave, what's happening now, kid?
Oh man, listen. It's been a glorious morning. Patrice Evra's at it again. You know what I mean? Giving me that energy, that vim, that excitement to say TGIM. Thank God it's Monday of all days. Absolutely glorious, mate.
Yeah, I saw you tweet that, and I've replied to that tweet as well.
I saw the GIF.
Oh, why are Mondays so horrible? Why are Mondays so horrible? Do you know when Mondays aren't horrible? When you're top of the league. Hey, do you like that for a segue?
Oh,
anyway, so things are looking pretty good in the United world at the minute, aren't they?
Oh man, absolutely amazing. I think the victory that we got on Saturday was one of the best victories of the season. You know, Max spoke about earlier on. It was much well. It's as worth. It has the same amount of worth as the 4-0s that we've got, because it's like, especially during that second half, and some people blame Mourinho for that second half, saying like, oh, he went too defensive. But I think when you look at that second half, you see Mourinho actually wanted to bring on the likes of Martial, Lingard, and Carrick. And he tried to shore up some of that midfield by bringing on Andy Herrera, but it weren't going that way. And it was like, well, to be honest, it doesn't look like it's going that way. So I'm going to have to bring on some defensive players, because if not, it's gonna go south.
Well, yeah, that's something that people don't often think about, or don't think about enough, I don't think, as well, is that there's two teams and there's two managers and there's two sets of tactics going on here. And it's a team sport. It's not an individual sport where if one individual's beating one more individual, that's going to stay that way unless there's a massive drastic change. When it's a team, it fluctuates massively, and tactics can have a massive part to play in it. And something changed. I've still not had a chance to re-watch the game yet, but something changed at the start of the second half, and they started overrunning our midfield a little bit, and they started running that game. Lamina and Romeo had excellent games in midfield, and that pushed them further up the pitch. They play a high defensive line, so that high defensive line and the strong midfield pushed United back a little bit, and United couldn't get that foothold back in midfield. And that's why I like the three-man midfield when it's three proper midfielders more than the 4-2-3-1, because I think it gives you that more solid base in the centre, and I think we lack that a little bit. But as you said, yeah, I think Mourinho wanted to push on, but sometimes you're just not able to, and I think people forget that sometimes, that you can't just have your own way all the time, and you have to react to what's happening on the pitch. And what was happening on the pitch is we was getting pushed backwards, so he made the substitutions that he made, and ultimately we come away with the 3 points. So people said we parked the bus. We didn't park the bus. We was reactive to what was happening on the pitch. We went out. Look how quick we attacked. Look how quick we got the goal. Look how quick everything was happening in the game. We could have run on and put them away the same we've put everyone else away this season. Ended up 3-4 goals to the good. But it didn't go like that. Now, you would criticise Mourinho and call him tactically naive if he did something, because we've seen Pep and we've seen Klopp do this, where they keep pushing for a win and end up getting caught out the other end. You know, it happened with City and Everton this season, already at home. So United didn't do that. United pushed on and we got the 3 points, and I think people forget that at times. It's about the 3 points, not about how many goals you can rack up.
I think you're 100% spot on with that. Like I said, it's where, like, during that entire second half, we couldn't make our way through the lines at all. And like I said, if you looked at the players that were warming up, you could see that it was Mourinho's intention to bring on some attacking players, but literally it was just like, it was impossible. We did have a couple of chances where Ander had a chance at the edge of the box. Lukaku had a chance from about 8 yards or so. But it was one of those ones where it was obvious that it wasn't going to happen. And because they had so much of the possession of the ball, listen, Mourinho's he is an absolute game manager. And that's why I love him, because he knows how to win a game on a game-by-game basis. And he looks at the game, he analyzes the game. And of course, in a perfect scenario, you'd like to score 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. Of course, that's the case. But then if it's not going that way, like you said, you're playing against somebody else who also has tactics. And if they're up for it and they're controlling the game in the way in which they were, listen, his substitutions, the substitutions that Mourinho has made over all our games this season have won us those games. the games that we've won, those substitutions, even the defensive one on Saturday, if it wasn't for that, they were pushing on. There were so many times the ball whiskered right by the post. It was like it was nervy stuff, but the substitutions really, really helped to shore up that defensive line. And obviously, De Gea had an absolute amazing game, like unbelievable as always.
Yeah, I see a lot of people moaning that we shouldn't have done better, but you're like, we got the win. I'm loving seeing the difference that everyone's treating the way United win and when we win well versus when City win and when they win well. They've scored like 11 goals or some shit in the last 2 games. Crystal Palace was never in that game. Like, I sat on this sofa the other day with my mate Ben doing our podcast, and he was predicting 7-0 for City. Like, that's what he thought they was going to go do to him. Like, Crystal Palace haven't scored a goal. They're not a threat. Now, United probably aren't going to put the same number up against Crystal Palace at weekend because we're coming back from Moscow.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's going to get held. If we beat them 2 or 3-0, I'm well happy. That'll do. That'll do. That'll be a good result.
All day, but people are still going to look at, but City put 5 past them.
Yeah.
There's always, you know what I mean? The reality is, Mourinho knows the games that he has to win, and he knows that at the end of the day, the reality of the fact is, when it comes to, all he needs to do is get these 3 points continuously, and then when it comes to going against the head-to-heads, then he knows that when he goes away, he's got to get the draw, and when he comes to Old Trafford, he's got to get the win. Yeah, that's how Mourinho does it. That's literally get the 4 points out of the 6 from your direct rivals and win everything else. And I think, I'm not saying we're going to win all of our games, but I think he's got it spot on in the sense of course, we would like more goals and all of that kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is, even with the goals we've scored this season, it is way ahead of what we were doing last season. Even the spread of the goals, like the spread of the goals is incredible. Like I can't be more enthused as a Manchester United fan right now than, you know, for what Mourinho's doing. You know, it's incredible stuff.
Just going to pause the video right here to let you know that OneFootball are sponsoring this podcast and loads of my content as well, so please go and check them out. The link is in the description below, and if you're quick, you might be able to win a Champions League experience. All you've got to do is look for the little advert on the app that says win a Champions League experience. Put your email address in, and that is it. It's as simple as that. It's a free app. Get it downloaded. You literally have nothing to lose. As I said, the link is in the description below. You've got stats on there, you've got fixtures on there, you've got breaking news on there. Get it turned on, get the alerts turned on, and get it downloaded because this is an absolutely belting app. On with the video. Lukaku, 8 goals in 8 games. I was excited before he came. I'm sort of overwhelmed a little bit by how good he has been. I thought he'd be good, but he's been ridiculous, hasn't he? Listen,
bro, like, it weren't until you had that game in 2 halves, yeah, where you spoke about Lukaku as being the best striker in the Premier League last season. Honestly, when you had that game in 2 halves, I was like, bro, hold on. You're actually onto something here. And the funny thing about it is, CheekySport Akeem always, for the last, 3-4 years, has harped on about Lukaku. Like, he absolutely loves him. Like, and, you know, in our fantasy football leagues, he's always racking up an insane amount of points, and we're like, hold on, his team is dead. But he's always got Lukaku up front. Like, that's who was racking up points from year on year. And it's one of those things where a lot of people look at it and think, you know, of course, when you go from a smaller team to a bigger team, there is the added pressure. But what you also don't realize is when you go from a smaller team to a bigger team, there is added chances that are created, which means a striker of that quality is going to be able to put away, or should be able to put away, more goals for a bigger team if they have the mentality to be able to take on the pressures of playing for a big team. And Lukaku, though, that's one of the most incredible things about it. He actually has the arrogance and the swagger to be a Manchester United player. It's as if he was made for this moment. He was made to be a Manchester United player. Yeah, I'm blown away. Week on week, I'm absolutely blown away by, you know, what he's doing. And people are always going to talk about the misses, or if he misses an opportunity, he misses a chance. But I think in this social media generation, people have forgotten that people actually, like strikers, great strikers, miss opportunities. Like, nobody scores every single opportunity that they have. And
people call Lionel Messi the greatest ever, and he misses about 90% of the shots he takes.
Exactly.
His striking like goals to shots ratio is ridiculous.
Yeah. Exactly.
But people forget that because they see that he scored 50 goals in a season, so they go, the guy's a dead eye. And you go, no, actually, he had 700 shots. Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's the exact point there. And I think with Lukaku, if we are very realistic with this thing, it's not going to, like you said, nobody's potent to score every single opportunity. But with a player that plays for Manchester United, especially in this day and age, there is so much pressure from that standpoint. But I like the fact that his head doesn't go down. If he misses opportunity, he does it. He's going to get another one and he scores it. And it's happened time and time again. And that's the difference and that's the key. His mentality, for me, is what makes him and what's going to continue to make him an even greater player.
If he scores a goal this week against Moscow, puts him on 9-9, and then we got Crystal Palace at home, who are falling to pieces, and they ain't got no Timbo either, who's their best player. So there's a real chance that he could overtake the number of games he's played with the number of goals he's got this weekend.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And it's funny because even like going back to what I was just saying, it's funny because last season, for as amazing as Zlatan was for us, and I absolutely love Zlatan, he missed an insane amount of opportunities as well in front of goal.
Zlatan's conversion rate was about 12%. So about 12% of the shots he took, regardless of where they was, about 12% of his shots resulted in goals. Lukaku last season, I think, was about 26%, which is just over double what Zlatan was getting. So you're like, whoa. I think Zlatan had 174 shots last season. So 26% of that is going to be roughly like 40-something goals, 44 goals or something like that. Well, this season so far, Lukaku's not at 26%. It might increase, it might decrease. At the moment, he's on a flat 20%. So 20% of his shots are going in. Projected forward, if he gets the same amount of shots that Zlatan had last season, he's going to score 35 goals for us.
Absolutely. And I don't see that as far-fetched in the slightest, especially in all the competitions we're in. Look, let's be straight up and honest with it. The guy is an absolute beast in front of goal, and he's not only is he a beast in front of goal. On top of that, his intelligence as a striker is special, and not a lot of people talk about it. Not a lot of people focus on his actual intelligence as a striker, what it takes to run that line and to run it.
It's his movement, mate. His movement's excellent. I think his movement inside the box could be better, but his movement outside of the box, his running of the channels and his moving of defenders is excellent. When I was analysing the Everton game last weekend, a back three's a tight formation when the back three stays together, but when you move that back three around, that's when they create holes. And he was dragging Phil Jagielka into that channel constantly, and that was leaving gaps for other people to come through. And that's the one thing I knew that we would get, where you say, I think that skills-wise, I think Zlatan's a better all-round footballer.
Yeah.
But because of the movement that you get of Lukaku, he's going to bring other people into the game. His movement drags defenders out of the way because you've got to mark him tight. You can't leave him because he's going to dust you for pace. You have to mark him tight. And when he starts moving players all over the place, he's going to allow other people to score goals. And that really was what United lacked last season, was other people scoring goals. Like you said earlier, we've got that in the team at the moment. We have really got that in the team, and it's fucking great to see at the moment. We're going into games, and I'm not scared we're not going to score. Like last season, there was like, do you know what? We could get nilled here. I don't think that this season. I don't think we're getting nilled against anybody.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's because everyone, especially in the forward line, is taking the response. Everyone's taking responsibility. Everyone's like,
Rashford's getting a hatful. Martial's got a hatful. Mkhitaryan's popping up with some goals. Everyone's scoring goals.
Everyone's getting involved in that, and it's incredible. Even Bay's got a goal. But we're talking about Zlatan. What are we going to do when he's back? What do you think? What do you think that situation is? What do you think it's going to look like?
I hope that we use him. We use him to prolong Lukaku's season, not bringing him in because he's Zlatan. And what I mean by that is, Zlatan isn't going to be the main man for me. And I think he's not going to be the main man for Mourinho because he's took a massive pay cut. So I think that they spoke about his responsibilities and that the wages came along with the responsibilities. Lukaku's never had a season where they're competing on all fronts at Everton. He's never had a season in the Champions League. He's never had a season where they expected to go on and push on right to the end of the season for silverware. He's never had this. So this is new to him. So instead of a 40-game season, he's going to be looking at a 55 game season plus internationals. That's a lot of graft for a lad.
Yeah.
Plus the move to Manchester United. You're talking about a lot of pressure on him there. So as the rubber meets the road come January, February, March, when things really start to take shape and you start looking at the latter rounds of the Champions League, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, Lukaku off, Zlatan on. You know, we've got the second leg of a European Cup game, a Champions League game. We're 2-0 up from the first leg. Do you know what? Zlatan, take a seat.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lukaku, take a seat.
Take a seat.
We've got
Zlatan
Liverpool
on.
at weekend. You'd be better for that one. Zlatan, go see the game out. Go win us this tie. Like, I think that is how we've got to utilise them two. That I'd love to see them both on a pitch at the same time, and I think just for the banter, Mourinho's going to do it at some point and start them both. I don't mean like bringing them on late, because I definitely envisage that happening.
The game with them both.
But I want to see a game where they start them both, and just the defenders be like, "Fuck's sake, I'm going to do it now."
You know when you literally turn up, it's like, it's going to be a long day at the office, man.
Yeah, like
it's going to be a long day. that's like our full-time Devils teammate with what's his name again that plays centre forward for us?
the Black Zlatan.
The Black Zlatan. Oh my days! Listen,
He's like the hybrid of Lukaku and Zlatan.
I was talking to Robbie.
Rapid and massive.
And Robbie was like, listen, you man had one serious forward. I was like, bruv, you're telling me, mate.
We had to spell him though, didn't we? Like American football or rugby or something. He couldn't last the full game, but you put him on for 2 minutes of absolute chaos and he's going to fucking hurt you. He had some feet on him as well. He could move.
He had some wheels, man. He had some wheels. Oh, man. Honestly. But no, honestly, like, as a defender, you come against those two, you're going to think to yourself, long day at the office, man. It's going to be a freaking long-ass day.
Who are you picking up? Like, you want to double up on those guys. You want to double up on those guys. If they're running at a back three, that's not enough numbers. Like, yeah. Zlatan has dropped off, right? One thing that I've been picking up on a lot recently is it's the length of the pitch. And I don't mean the length of the grass. I mean the length of where you're playing. I mean the length of your team. It's easy when you make an opposition compact. It's easy when they become compact. But if you can spread that pitch and you can make that pitch bigger for yourself, then you're harder to mark. One of the problems with Zlatan is, because he's not got the legs no more, he was a lot more stationary, he was a lot more static, he operated a lot more around the middle of the pitch. Often on a counter-attack, you'd see him in the number 6 position, making that Pogba-style pass out to the wing or into the final third. That's not where you want your number 9. You want your number 9 as the guy that's fucking tearing dust up and being
pulling creating space.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy that finishes them moves or starts them moves. He's got to be the guy at the other end of the pitch. Now, Lukaku is that. Lukaku only is that. That is where he operates. That's where he feeds. That's where he finds what he needs to find. You put them on together though. Oh shit! Because now you're going to have a guy stretching the play, and now you're going to have a guy with the ability to find him. Especially, like, I don't think you can bring him in for Pogba because I don't like Pogba as that number 10 role. I like Pogba as an 8. I think he's got defensive qualities. I think he's got match running qualities that you've got to use box to box. You can't just allow him. He's shit when he's back to goal. Let's face it. Number 10 is a back to goal role. Number 10 is a guy that's got to bring it in from the midfield, turn and find something. Pogba's better when he's driving that ball forward into that space and then finding them final passes. But I think you can play Zlatan as that creator role in a team. You'll maybe go with dual number 10s with him and Mkhitaryan if he's a team that you think you're going to absolutely tater at home. And I think it'd be interesting to see. Not playing him as the number 9, playing him off. You know, play him off Rashford, play him off Martial, play him off Lukaku, play him off. Just, you don't need to play him as the number 9. I mean,
he was doing that as well for PSG, actually. When he was playing at PSG, many a times you had Cavani playing way up top as the full number 9, and you'd always see Zlatan coming in from deep, but still managing to get up there and get the goals. Get the goals,
what would you say to him scoring 15 goals this season? I'd put money on it.
I'd put money on him scoring 15 goals this season, especially with the way in which we're playing with a lot more confidence, the assurance that we've got now at the back, a lot more, and we're waiting for the likes of Rojo and the like to come in. Definitely. But what I was going to ask as well, is obviously this week just gone, we had Diego Costa's move confirmed to Atletico. Are we still in for Griezmann?
Who knows?
Should we still be in for Griezmann?
Yes. Now, when you watch this is something that you don't pick up on TV. When you watch live football and you can watch one guy and not watch what the camera's telling you to watch, you see a lot more of the game. There's a reason why scouts don't watch video. There's a reason why scouts go and sit in the stand to watch a game. There's a reason why you watch players with your eyeballs rather than over a TV screen. Even great apps like Instat and WeScout don't pick up everything that a player's doing because it's limited to what the camera's doing. Me and Dave was in Bilbao. Other Dave, not this Dave, last week to go and watch Atletico Madrid against Athletic Bilbao. And Antoine Griezmann was the difference between the two sides. Defensively, goalkeeper, midfield, fuck all in it at all. Antoine Griezmann plays this sort of free role where he goes from being a 7, a 10, and an 11. He basically goes wherever the fuck he wants. And he's a nightmare to pick up. And he goes in. He's a playmaker and a striker, and a winger, and he's doing all of this at the same time, and he's a fucking nuisance. Because he's little, he's not physical, he goes down a little bit easy, I can say that. I would call it diving, to be honest, but he goes down a little bit easy, under any contact. It's not as blatant as some of the dives that you see, but he's definitely buying them. He's definitely buying these, and that's frustrating. But when he's got the ball at his feet, when you see him moving off the ball, he's a nightmare to pick up because he's happy on that left channel. He's happy in that right channel. He's happy coming through the middle. And when you think, this doesn't work unless there's a focal point of the team because that's where the space gets created. When you have, let me put it this way, if you had Zlatan and Griezmann, on paper you go, holy shit, that's amazing. But because Zlatan's dropping away from that forward line, it allows the defence to step up and press up. And when the defence is stepping up like that, that constricts the space in between the midfield and the defence. And United struggled with that a lot last season. Now, if you've got a player that's stretching that defence, that opens up the gap in between the defence and the midfield. And this is where Griezmann operates. And this is where he hurts you. Now, when you think Juan Mata's contract's coming to an end in the summer, and Antoine Griezmann was clearly coming to Manchester United this summer before the ban.
Yeah.
Costa's gone. That's already a replacement of sorts. They're not going to play Costa, Griezmann, Torres, all of these guys at the same time, and it's not going to happen.
No.
I wouldn't have thought. But is he coming in January? Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Seen it happen, but I highly doubt it. Mata goes to Atletico Madrid and replaces him as that sort of off-the-striker playmaker on a free next season. Griezmann comes in. We have Lukaku heading forward. We play him on that right-hand side channel. You got Mkhitaryan in the middle. You got Marshall on the left-hand side. That's a team capable of winning the Champions League if we can fix out left-back.
Absolutely. I think the funny thing is, I was saying this to somebody the other day because funny thing is that I said the exact same thing as yourself. But the funniest thing is, why is Mata always the dispensable one? Like,
I just think when you look at how old he is, I think he's an excellent footballer. That is the type of footballer I really like. Someone who plays it on the floor, neat touches, gives and goes. That's football how I like it. But his contract's coming to an end. There's been no talk of him signing a new deal at all, which makes me think that him and Mourinho have had a word, and Mourinho's gone to him. Listen, I'm buying Griezmann. So, next season, you're not going to be first choice. Give me the best season of your career. Let's go and win some shit. And then you can go wherever you want on a free afterwards. And Matt has gone, like, cool, let's do it.
Standard.
By the same rule, and Herrera's not signing his contract.
Yeah.
But I think the relationship is different with him. And I think that he's not playing because he's not signed his contract. I mean, that's just my reading of the situation, not that I've been told that. I think that there's something in that. I think Mourinho wants him to stay. I think he wants him to sign a contract, and I think he doesn't want to sign that contract. Hence why he's been sitting on his ass.
Why do you think he doesn't want to sign it? Do you think it's money, or do you think it's?
I think, despite what he's come out and said in the press, I think that he wants to go to Barcelona.
Oh, is it? No, he can't go to Barcelona. Well, then again, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one because, like I said, both of these guys we're talking about are super fan favorites. Do you know what I mean? Like the likes of Ander Herrera, like I see him as a future manager of a club.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
He's got the drive. He's got that bite. He's got.
Absolutely.
You can see he's a football guy, isn't he?
Yes, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So it's for me, it's sad to see that as a possibility, but at the same time, it's not. And it's strange because, like I said, he was like our absolute best player in terms of like giving heart and fight throughout the entirety of last season.
Statistically, he was our best midfielder last season. He was, tackles, chances created, all that sort of stuff. It was Herrera. It's been a weird sort of PR flip on Herrera from a fan point of view, because there's a lot of fans going, the guy's bang average, who gives a shit? And you're like, where the fuck has this come from? Because last season, like, he was winning awards. Statistically, he was fucking smashing it. Like, have we just decided he's bang average now because Matic has come in and started? Like, Herrera was out the team for the start of the season because he was injured. He's not come back into the team, I think, because of his contract situation. When he has played, he hasn't lit the world up, but maybe he needs a little bit of time to get back into the rhythm of things, which I think is probably the case. Yeah,
no, I certified 100%, definitely agree with that. But I think the situation, like I said, the situation with his contract is definitely taking its toll and having an effect on his position within the team at the moment. But I think on the other side of that, another thing that I'm thinking about is Jose's got like a season and a half left. What's going on over there? That's what's next. Like, as in, I wouldn't want to get round to next summer before we give him an extension. And I think he should get an extension. But it's what's I don't know what you think about that.
I think Jose. There's been rumours that they're going to try and start negotiations with him. I think it's going great so far. We're not seeing that typical Mourinho thing that you see, but we're only in the second season. Second season usually goes excellent for him, almost flawless in his second season. Season 3 is where it goes tits up. So maybe one hand at the board is saying, let's wait until 2-3 months into next season before we do it. He's going to sign if he's happy. And if he's not happy, then he was always going to walk anyway. So you're not really... It's not like you're going to lose out on a transfer fee or anything like you would if it was a player. Mm-hmm. You're probably a bit safer holding off with the likes of Mourinho rather than giving him a fat contract and having to sack him and costing us tens of millions. Maybe it's just best to wait until this time next season. He's still got a long way to go. But I also see the other thing, which is the psychological aspect of if he's signing players on 5-year deals, and he's like, you've only got 12 months left now, bed. Why are you signing me on a 5-year deal?
Exactly. That's my concern there, because I think with Manchester United under the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, there was a degree of I'm going to be here, I'm the boss, and I'm going to be here longer than any of you. So that's you know what I mean. That nobody could take Sir Alex for a ride, obviously because he's Sir Alex, but at the same time, his position was more secure than absolutely anybody's. Like it didn't matter who you were or what you were, and that was evidence through the people that we let go of during his tenure there. But and I think with the managers that we've had coming in and out, there's been a degree of respect lost, I think, on the manager's part, because it's like, you joke, man. You know what I mean? And they all take us, man, to down tools, and you're out. Do you know what I mean? But when there's a strong stance from the club, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this. I can't get this man out. I'm going to have to put up or shut up in that sense. And I think that's what I'd like us to get. That's what I'd like us to get back to in a sense. However, I also do know, obviously, with history, you know, people always say like history has a tendency of repeating itself. I hope it doesn't. I hope more than anything, this is Mourinho's fairy tale, and I hope this is where he wants to continue to stay. Because to be honest, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking there's nothing else that he has to do in the game.
I think he's mentioned about wanting to be the Portugal manager at some point. And I think there's another team that I've heard him mention. Have I heard him mention that he wants to manage in Argentina? Or is it no, that's Pep, I think. No, that might have been Pep that wants to manage Argentina at some point. Guy's just got a fucking obsession with Messi, hasn't he? I'd feel better. I'd feel a lot better I'd feel better if he moved out of the hotel. But I actually think there's a lot of good reasons for living in the hotel, really, when you think about it. If your missus and your family's down south, mate, let's face it, that hotel is more luxurious than any home we're ever going to own in our lives, for starters. You've got room service, which is...
Hey, Howson, speak for yourself, mate. Speak for yourself, mate. I'm trying to...
I think it's a Michelin-starred restaurant, which you can have delivered up to your room. The coaching staff are in the hotel with you. So... Your folk and like the lads are coming to the hotel 3 nights a week because of the games that we've got to play. You are on the road on the other nights, so really, it's not the end of the world. I don't think.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I'd just feel better. I think if he put them roots down.
If he put down roots. But then it's like I said. The funny thing is, he actually doesn't need a house because it'll be a bit boring him coming home to himself, like as in like every night. And nobody else is about. Obviously at the hotel he's in a suite. But if he wants to like see people, you can generally see people. But he's not going to buy like a 1-bedroom house, is he? He's going to buy a proper house if he puts down roots. And
with no one around him.
No one around is a bit of a...
You know, if he's in a suite, I'm sure he's put up like 2-3 of his coaches on the same floor of the hotel. Absolutely. You know, he can go and chat to them, and he's worked with some of these lads now for 15, 20 years, so they're going to be tight. They're going to be real good friends. So. I think that, actually, maybe it is pretty prudent. It just doesn't feel what we're used to, does it, with Sir Alex, where you're like...
Rooted.
This guy is a part of the club, and Mourinho feels temporary. He might not end up being temporary. If he does 10 years, then 1, he's been hyper-successful, and 2, the club has been hyper-successful. Yeah. So we all want him to stay for 10 years. The reality is, he's probably not going to stay for 10 years. The day that he stood at Old Trafford with that scarf above his head, the clock was ticking. So I'd feel better if we brought a director of football in. That was sort of making moves.
You've been calling that for a long time still.
I think we need it, mate. I think we need it for the planning of the academy. I think we need it for the planning of the under-23s. I think we need it for planning of bringing players through into the first team. I think there needs to be someone that's above Jose Mourinho. That's not Ed Woodward. That's an actual knowledgeable football man that's saying to him, you're going to lose Angel Gomez unless he becomes part of the first team. That's saying to him, this lad's fucking garbage in the under-23s. We're not giving him a new contract. That's saying to him, there's a couple of players here that would benefit from playing in the League Cup match. We played a very strong team in the League Cup last week. You know, this is the opportunity. David Beckham made his 25th. It was the anniversary of David Beckham's 25th. Anniversary of his debut last week. You know, he came on as a sub against Brighton in 1992 as a 17-year-old. Where was that for the first round of the League Cup? Do you know what I mean? Like, where was that guy this year?
Scott McTominay came on. Obviously, we've seen him before, innit? It's not like a. It's not. But you know what? I guess I agree 100%. I agree with you on that standpoint. I think. When it comes to the League Cup, I think Mourinho just honestly. I think when he looks at the League Cup, I honestly think
his trophy.
He looks at it and he thinks 5 games to a trophy. Literally, just sits there and thinks, I'm not messing around with this. It's 5 games to a trophy. This is like the most. This is the most like certain you can get to winning something. So it's like in his mind, it's like we ain't playing around with this. This is 5 games. Like, and I think I would probably feel the same way to a certain degree, especially in this day and age. I know he's always taken it seriously. Mourinho has always historically taken it seriously, but especially in this day and age where, you know, everything is now of importance. You know what I mean? Even though it's called the Carabao Cup and they did the draw like at like 4 a.m. in the morning, no one was awake, no one knew what was going on. Like balls were like drawn twice, it was madness. But even in the face of all of that, I think Mourinho looks at that and he thinks to himself, 5 games, trophy, easy, early doors, and then we can push on and do whatever else. But I think he wants to. But the other part of Mourinho in his mind is also like, I ain't risking winning something here to that great degree. But I think you're spot on in the sense that he needs to. There is a balance. there is a balance that needs to be found in that space. Balance. There is a balance, Siaga, to be found in that. And he hopefully, who did we draw? Swansea, innit? We've got Swansea. Yeah, see, that's even more tougher than who we had before. So but hopefully we start pulling in some. And I think the issue is, the more further on you get, the less likely people are going to have opportunities, because the closer you are to actually. Well,
of course, yeah. The closer you are to silverware, the more you're not gonna fancy it.
Yeah.
But I think a director of football, to oversee not just all that sort of day-to-day shit, but to have a shortlist of guys that they're talking to on the sly. You know, are we talking to Thomas Tuchel? Are we talking to Pochettino? Are we talking to Simeone? Are we keeping an eye on of like a constantly evolving top 5 managers that we want, so in case it goes boom with Mourinho, like it's very likely to do? Who's the guy that's going to be like, don't panic, I got 3 guys on the back burner here, don't worry about it?
I think after Mourinho, I think Manchester United will 100% have a director of football. I think this is the last roll of the dice at keeping it the way it is. And I think some people in the club don't, as in like some people higher up in the club, don't want to have a director of football to that extent. But then I think because we've had like experimental years, you know, walking in the wilderness without one, if this doesn't succeed, or if Mourinho ends up going in a pile of smoke, you know what I mean, like an absolute car crash, then
no matter how it ends, he's not going to walk off into the sunset at 70 like Fergie did. No matter what, that's not how it ends. So it's going to end in a car crash. I just hope between now and then we pick up 3 or 4 titles in the European Cup. I just hope that's the case. But it's definitely ending in a car crash. There's no way. You're not going to see 70-year-old Mourinho just saying goodbye and giving a speech and be like, right, your job now is to support the new manager and all that shit. That is not happening. I will guarantee that isn't happening. I just hope we're successful in that interim before the eventual fucking car crash.
I sincerely hope so. I think the other thing I was going to talk to you about, is, bruv, what is like officials, the FA? I mean, I love the FA. I do a lot of work with them still. So yeah, I mean, little caveat there. But at the same time,
don't say fuck or bugger. Fucking bugger.
What's everyone's obsession with like taking things to the severe extreme when it comes to Mourinho? Like Mourinho, yes, he stepped onto the pitch. You're not supposed to step onto the pitch, yeah. But I was at the game. I didn't even see it, yeah. And all I know is that, you know, I mean, these guys took a corner. Play got pulled back, and then Mourinho got sent to the stands. I was like, bruv, did he swear at the fourth official? Did he? Then I saw the news, because he stepped onto the pitch. I was like, people step onto the pitch all the time. Like, are you really being for real? Like, the ball is at the corner. Do we really have to take it that deep? Seriously. Or do we really have to take... Why? Why is it... Why?
I think there's a definite agenda against Mourinho, because I think he generally doesn't give a flying fuck about authority. To an extent. So, I think that because it's United and because it's Mourinho, we're going to get slapped. And I see people all the time saying Fergie got away with murder. Fergie got a record number of bans from the FA.
So much sending off. So much stands. I think people forget the fieriness of Fergie. That's what I'm saying. Now he's been immortalised into such a figure, people forget that Fergie was...
Well, look at last season. How many fucking press conferences did Rue Farrier had to do because Mourinho was getting sent off or banned for utter bull? He kicked a water bottle. Do you know how many water bottles I see getting smashed left, right and centre of a weekend?
It's ridiculous. It's like anything they can use to get him. And I'm trying to think, are they going to give him a ban? Are they going to ban him?
Absolutely, yeah. We find out today. By the time this video goes out, we probably already know. So,
and I'm like, why? Why is that? Like, come on, seriously. Like, this happened on a weekly basis. I'm sure that he wasn't the only person this weekend that stepped onto the pitch. I'm sure. I bet you
could find it if you really went hard for it. Like, we threw up a photograph on Full Time Devils, which even like fucking was like, yep, absolutely. Which is Klopp and Conte screaming at fourth officials. Klopp's on the pitch. I've seen Conte on the pitch. There's no bans coming on here. You know, how many times have you seen like Wenger had to be dragged back by his assistants and he's encroached onto the pitch, you know, to have a go at a referee for a decision? This shit happens. Yeah. It seems like, yes, all right, the letter of the law says you ban the fucker, but apply the letter of the law to everyone. Or have some common sense.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. And that's the severe issue, man. There is, and that's what I don't like, because I don't like. It's like everyone is trying to get him to bite. You know what I'm saying? And Mourinho bites. Like, Mourinho will bite. That's the reality of the fact. He's Mourinho. I always say Mourinho is the management. What Cristiano is to football. They can't hide their emotions. Like, he will bite if you push him to bite. And it's like, just leave the guy alone to a certain degree. In it, like, he's not like what I said. When I saw it, I was thinking, did he have a go at the red? At fourth official? Did he swear? Did he?
Yeah, nobody knew. No one knew what the fuck it was about. It was like,
I was confused. But it was like, yeah, it's a bit of a joke. A bit of a joke from that perspective.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, because this is going to take forever to edit as it is. But Dave, thank you for joining us, mate. As always, been an absolute pleasure.
Anytime, bro.
You fucking weirdos can go follow him at the link in the description below. Follow him on Twitter as well. I'll throw that link in the description below. So make sure you go and check out what CheekySport are up to. Been doing some work with the NFL recently, haven't you? Rocking the hat there. I clocked it. He's frozen. Fucking typical. Right, so I can say anything I want about him now, because he's gone and he can't hear me, probably. But yeah, go and check out Dave. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you in the next one, when I might have... I have got, let's face it, you've already seen the photographs of it, but I've got the sporting director from Athletic Bilbao, who's kind enough to bring us into their office and show us around their training ground, and then talk to us about what makes Athletic Bilbao so special. So look out for that one. That's probably going to be released next Monday, so make sure to tune in for that one. Thanks for watching. Dave's back now. He's unfrozen. So anything you want to say to people?
Not much, man. Listen, just keep watching the Warm Down podcast. It's freaking awesome.
There we go. Laters. See you in a bit.